Treading along the borderline between life and death, a slow descent into the morbid until you are firmly within its grasp. My final night arrived. I still remember the smell of freshly fallen rain and alcohol looming heavy in the air. Feeling the cold of the wet grass under my bare feet. Feeling the sting of branches as they cut into my ankles as I pressed forward into the forest behind my home. Oblivious to the monster that crept closer as I waltzed, drunk, through the trees. The darkness hung heavy as I listened to my own footsteps echoing along the treetops. Feeling the shiver that crept through every bone in my body when I realized that there was a pair of footsteps that echoed behind my own. I stopped moving, and I closed my eyes. In that moment, I was more ready than I had ever been. Hoping the animal stalking me would pounce in violent defense. I knew that it had to be an animal. What else would be creeping under the moonlight? But when the echoing ceased, I couldn't help but feel disappointed. I listened. I waited. But the silence seemed endless. The only thing I could hear was the soft sound of my own heart beating. I steadied my breathing as a warm gust of air met my cheeks. Inhaling deep, I curled my lip. What was once the fresh scent of wet pine was replaced with a vile stench of copper. Snapping my eyes open, my gaze met the stare of another. Coming to terms that it wasn't an animal. Instead, it was a man that was following me. The memory of my makers forever burned into my mind. The way his eyes seemed to glow against the night. The guttural growl that slid from his bared teeth. How his own fangs began to puncture his bottom lip, and the overwhelming scent of blood invaded my senses once more. The memory of my darkest night forever etched into my soul. How I, being blinded by reckless selfishness, finally crossed the borderline I normally held balance to. I requested to be sacrificed, assuming I would die swiftly, that the stranger would release me from existence. But I was wrong. I will never forget how firm his hold was. My hair and dress balled up in his fists, barely able to breathe within his grasp. Isn't this what I wanted? This man's primal nature coming forward to tear into my neck, feeling his teeth slice their way through, bathing in the warmth of my own blood, slowly losing consciousness. Isn't this what I wanted? Regret and panic devoured me as I laid limp within his arms, unable to move as my vision blurred. Finally releasing my neck, I fought to keep my eyes open so I could see him one last time. When our eyes met, though his face was stained with crimson, the blue of his eyes illuminated the darkness. For a moment, he seemed almost human, showing an odd expression of remorse. He knew I truly did not want to die. Of all the places to wander, here you are, Sunray. I remember telling you to avoid this place. Yet, I should have known my fearless Sunray would come back to these gates. Do you enjoy disturbing the dead, or is there another reason why you're lingering at the cemetery entrance? You came looking for me. Though I am flattered, I have to protest your entry. Unfortunately, because of their recklessness. You're not afraid of them. You should be. They aren't as friendly as I am. And just the thought of you in itself is more tempting than ever. You really think they wouldn't take advantage of you? Even after reading my journals, do you truly believe violence is not in our nature? Yes, I know you still have them. I thought you would get tired of reading my thoughts. I'm sure you can find other things to occupy your time. What I'm thinking? If you really wanted to know what I'm thinking, why not ask me? Indeed. I might tell you things you don't want to hear. You force me to be honest, Sunray. Isn't that what humans strive for? Honesty? Then honesty is what you shall receive. I daydream about what your blushing cheeks would look like if I were to pull you into the darkness. I wonder what kind of thrilling sounds can slip from your lips. I'm teasing. I can't help but tease you. You make it ever so worth it, Sunray. You should at least know better than to go wandering this far from home. All you have to do is call out for me, and I will come to you. Isn't there a place where we can go that has a few more heartbeats other than just your own? Obviously not for my devious endeavors. Anywhere but here. You're home. As long as you invite me in, I'll be looking forward to it.